My name is Buzzu Henry. I work with the Uganda Wildlife Authority as the wildlife rangers. I have been here for the last 23 years in service, and my passion about this organization was that I loved conservation so much, because in conservation we conserve wildlife and bird life species. So I've been here for quite a long period of time, and my passion of this organization has made me create friends in the world. I have friends in Europe, I have friends, Ugandan friends, and actually so many other friends within the community. My main duty, my main responsibility is to protect the wildlife against the external encroachers. And then two, my major duties is to educate the community. My work is to educate the community there about the importance of the national park. I move around with it to bring schools groups, community, domestic tourists, to educate them as far as the wildlife conservation is concerned. And then the third one is I go around with the tourists for a nature walk. When you come around here, I will be able to be consulted. I will take you for a nature walk. That's when you will be able to see and feel the touch of some of the trees of medicinal values, the animal carcasses, and so many others. And then the last one is that my major duty is to guide tourists into the national park on a game drive activities, on probably sport fishing. That's one thing that we do. And then maybe bush camping. We protect you out there when you want to be to do the camping safaris. And then so many others that, we are assigned to do, and other duties that we have been assigned to do. Yes, I would like to inform my fellow Ugandans and those who are out there, those who have never been in the national parks, that conservation as one of the wildlife conservationists, it's wide open to everybody. That's why you are able to see foreigners come here into the conservation. We even have some few locals, few Ugandans also try to these days come in. But what I want to tell you out there, it's as a wildlife conservation, we have the charges for Ugandans coming into this national park. It's a little bit cheap compared to those who are coming from Europe, compared to those who are coming from foreign countries. So I would encourage all Ugandans basically to come and pay a visit to the national park. We are here for you. We shall be able to guide you throughout the national parks, whether you love birds, you need animals, you need giraffes, you need lions and leopards. We are here basically to give you a go-ahead when you come in today and tomorrow. The most interesting things about Murchison Falls National Park, it's that one thing is the biggest national park we have in Uganda. And then two, it's also the oldest national park we have basically in Uganda. And the uniqueness, interesting, is that about the waterfalls. Murchison Falls as a tourism destination, visitors come in besides all other things what we have been talking about, but basically they came as a result of viewing the Murchison Falls, which is the greatest and the biggest waterfalls in the whole world. Another fact is that we look at also one of the hottest park. And remember that when you look at the elevation in Murchison Falls National Park, we have the highest elevation here, it's 1,292 meters above sea level, and the lowest point it's 613 meters above sea level. And that is why this place, Murchison Falls, some other areas is very hot. And then some other areas is a little bit at a humid temperature, as well at a higher altitude. Also, we looked at the uniqueness of this place. It's the presence of the giraffe. The giraffe plays a very big role to attract tourists in this national park. In the recent population that we had here, population census, we had about 1,700 giraffes which exists within this conservation area. And the species we have is the Rothschild giraffe, which it constitutes up to about 75% of the total population of this Rothschild in the whole world is found in Murchison Falls National Park. Yeah, if you want to become a wildlife ranger, as the way I am, one thing that you need to do, Uganda Wildlife Authority does not basically look at basically your academic status. Just academic status is actually quite low, that you need to be a minimum of senior 4 is what qualifies you to become a wildlife ranger. Other than, then secondly also, if you hail from within the community bound neighboring the parks, that is also one of the bigger advantage for one to qualify to become a wildlife ranger. However, you may study wildlife. We have tourism industries in the country. We have got the wildlife institutions like the Katue and other institutions. If you go through that, you also have added advantage over somebody who has just finished senior 4. And also when you come out from the community around neighboring the park, you basically qualify to become a wildlife ranger. But of course, now we, as institutions, there are those who are professional. We have the accountant who are working with us. We have the lawyers who are working with Uganda Wildlife Authority. We have the research and monitoring department that caters for the population census of the wildlife. And if you only study senior 4, would be of advantage for one to become a wildlife ranger. My information to all Ugandans who are listening to me is that conservation is something very, very important into wildlife, and even outside there. So that's why we say that while in the country, conserve for generation. That's why Murchison Falls still stand in to have up to about 2,000 elephants coexisting here. And then that's why we also have lots and lots of giraffes that coexist here. So my message is to you that let's conserve for generation, for new generation, because we are here today, then tomorrow we may not be around, but a future generation will always be able to come and then see basically what we have. So conservation, it's the key aspect of wildlife in the country.